Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're really getting into a classic, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah. A book that's really, well, it's definitely made waves in how people approach money.
Totally. We've boiled down the key insights from a summary, actually, and the aim here is to pull out those big, impactful lessons, stuff you can maybe use to rethink your own finances.
Exactly. And it all spins around this contrast, right?
Yeah.
Between his two dads.
Right, the poor dad and the rich dad.
Yeah, poor dad. Highly educated, conventional job, security focused. Rich dad, more of a street smart, self-made guy, focused on businesses, investments.
And their whole philosophy on money was just worlds apart. That's what we want to unpack.
Okay, let's dive in.
So first up, probably the most famous idea.
Mm-hmm.
The rich don't work for money, they make money work for them.
Mm-hmm. Which goes against, well, pretty much everything most of us are taught.
Totally. Go to school, get good grades, find a safe job, trade your hours for a paycheck.
Yeah.
That's the standard path.
That's the poor dad way, right? Your time, your skills, you trade them directly for a salary. It's, linear.
Uh-huh.
But rich dad, he's all about a different model. Building things or buying things, assets that churn out income, whether you're clocked in or not.
Yeah, and think about the risk of just having a salary. If you can't work for some reason.
Your income just stops. Poof.
Exactly. You're stuck on that hamster wheel.
Whereas the wealthy, according to Kiyosaki, they step off by building these independent income streams.
So things like, what, stocks? Real estate?
Yeah, investments like stocks, bonds, definitely real estate that pays rent, businesses that can run, more or less on their own.
Royalties, patents, that kind of stuff too. Passive income?
All of that. It's
Yeah.
about setting up systems, yeah. Systems that bring in cash. It's not just having money, it's how it's working for you.
It flips the script on who's in control, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Instead of being a cog making money for your boss, you build your own money-making machines, your assets. It just needs a whole different mindset.
Okay, so that leads nicely into the next big thing, which really hit home for me. Financial education is crucial.
Oh, massively.
The book really calls out traditional schooling for, well, basically ignoring practical money stuff. You learn history, science, but not how to budget, or understand taxes, or investing.
Yeah, that's a huge critique. The system often trains us to be good employees, not necessarily good owners or investors.
Right.
So Rich Dad, Poor Dad really hammers home the need for financial literacy, really understanding the difference between an asset and a liability.
Okay, we'll get to that definition in a sec. But also, reading financial statements, managing debt smartly, making money grow.
All of it. There's that quote, right? It's not how much money you make.
It's how much you keep. Yeah. Powerful.
And that directly feeds into the next point. Buy assets, not liabilities.
Okay, so let's nail down his definitions here, because they're maybe not what everyone assumes.
Totally. So for Kiyosaki, an asset is simple. It puts money in your pocket, consistently.
And a liability.
Takes money out of your pocket. Again, consistently.
So the typical example, like the fancy new car.
Yeah.
Poor dad might see that as success.
Right, a status symbol. But rich dad, he'd likely see it as a liability.
Why? Because of the payments, insurance, gas.
Exactly. Loan payments, insurance, maintenance, depreciation.
Oh.
It just sucks money out without bringing any income in. Unless, I guess, you're an Uber driver or something.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So assets would be more like a rental property that brings in rent checks.
Perfect example. Or dividend stocks, paying you regularly. An online business generating sales. Those put money in.
Liabilities are the car loan, credit card debt, maybe even your own house.
Yeah, often the primary residence is considered a liability in this framework because of the mortgage, taxes, upkeep costs, unless part of it is rented out, for example.
Right, so the focus has to be on intentionally buying things that either grow in value or produce income. That's how you build wealth over time.
It's about being deliberate with where your money goes. Are you buying things that feed you or things that just eat your money? It needs conscious effort, ongoing.
Which ties into another key lesson. Mind your own business.
And this isn't about being nosy, obviously.
No, it's not even necessarily quit your day job right now.
No, not at all. It's about understanding the difference between your job, what you do for someone else, and your business.
And the business here means your assets, your portfolio.
Exactly. Your collection of income-generating assets, that's your business. Kiyosaki's advice is actually quite strategic. Keep your job, use that income.
To build your asset column.
Precisely. Use your salary to buy or build things that will eventually make the salary less necessary.
So, practical examples. Side hustles that build assets, like
Mm.
buying that first rental.
Could be. Or maybe creating an online course you sell, starting a YouTube channel that might, eventually make ad revenue, buying dividend stocks.
Anything that builds that asset side of the ledger.
Yeah. The end game is financial independence, where the income from your assets covers your expenses. Then the job becomes optional. That's the freedom part.
So maybe a good question for listeners is, like, what could they start building on the side, even small?
Yeah, what's one feasible step towards owning an asset?
Okay, and the last major point is more psychological, I guess.
Yeah.
It's about fear and maybe being too comfortable.
Yeah, the book talks a lot about how fear of losing money, fear of failure, and just the desire for safety and comfort can actually keep people poor.
That rings true. We're often taught to play it safe, avoid risk at all costs.
Right. Society often pushes that. Job security, steady paycheck, don't rock the boat. But Kiyosaki argues that being too afraid of risk, too stuck in the comfort zone.
Stops you from taking the actions needed for financial freedom.
Exactly. He suggests the rich see risk differently. They take calculated risks. They learn from mistakes instead of being paralyzed by them.
They use fear as fuel, almost, to learn more, plan better.
Something like that. And chasing comfort, like always wanting the easy path now, can mean you avoid the slightly harder things that build wealth later.
Like learning about investing or starting that side project. It takes effort.
It does. So the idea is, don't let fear stop you. Educate yourself, start small, test things out. Step outside that comfort zone, even just a little bit. Action is key.
Okay, that's a lot of really powerful ideas. So if someone's listening and thinking, right, I get it, but where do I even start? What are some concrete first steps?
Well, one really practical thing right out of the gate is to actually track your assets and liabilities. Like, for real.
Just make 2 lists.
Yep. Grab a piece of paper, a spreadsheet, whatever. Column A, assets, everything that brings money in. Column B, liabilities, everything that takes money out.
See where your money is actually flowing, like a financial checkup.
Exactly. It gives you a baseline. Are you actually building wealth or just treading water? It's often eye-opening.
Good one. What else?
Build a learning habit. Seriously. Financial education.
Like read more books, listen to podcasts like this one.
Yeah. Dedicate maybe just 15 minutes a day. Read articles, watch reputable YouTube channels about finance, listen to podcasts. Just consistently feed your brain.
Knowledge compounds, just like money.
Yeah, that's the idea. The more you learn, the better decisions you can make.
Okay, and one more practical step.
Start building or acquiring your first asset, even a tiny one.
Don't wait until you have huge amounts of cash.
No. Create a small digital download to sell. Start a simple blog you could monetize later. Make a small researched investment in a stock or ETF.
Just get the ball rolling. Own something that works for you, even in a small way.
Exactly. Lay that first brick.
You mentioned a quote earlier, but there's that really famous one about the mind, isn't there?
Oh yeah, that's maybe the most important one. The single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. If it is trained well, it can create enormous wealth.
That kind of sums it all up, doesn't it?
It really does. It says your financial intelligence, your mindset, that's the real foundation. More important than your job, more important than how much you start with. Train your mind.
So, wrapping up our deep dive on Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The big takeaway really seems to be about that mindset shift.
Absolutely. It starts there. Understanding assets versus liabilities, making money work for you, prioritizing financial learning. That's the path to building real wealth and freedom.
And hopefully, breaking down these core ideas gives everyone listening a solid foundation, a way to maybe look at their own finances a bit differently.
Yeah, it's a powerful framework, even if you just take 1 or 2 ideas and start applying them.
Okay, so final thought to leave everyone with is maybe think about this. Based on what we talked about, which mindset, poor dad or rich dad, feels more dominant in your thinking right now?
Good question.
And maybe more importantly, what's just one small thing, one action you can actually do today to start nudging yourself more towards those rich dad principles?